So, of course, there are people with longer relationships than me, and I'm sure there are people with better relationships, although it's hard to fathom. But I've had a great relationship for about 5 years with my wife. And I did not listen to anybody at all. Did not listen to any YouTube videos, did not listen to my parents, did not listen to my friends. There's not one person who I listened to. In fact, like everybody always told me I was doing the wrong thing. People made fun of me for what I was doing. People told me how it's not going to work. People told me everything you can imagine. I didn't listen to anybody. My wife, perhaps you could say she did better than me. She didn't even really talk to anybody. Like, I'm a very sociable person at times, so I like to talk about things. And I'm super proud of my wife, so I would always be telling people about my girlfriend or my wife when she became my wife. Or for a long time, she was my fiance, and then she became my fiance wife, because it was like she was my fiance, but we had tried to get married and we couldn't get married, so it's like she should be my wife, but she's still my fiance, so I called her my fiance wife. So because I talked a lot about her, people gave me a lot of criticisms. And generally not constructive criticism, although some people did. And yeah, I did what I thought was right. And I've got a lot of other videos on it. And it was unique in that it was mostly a long-distance relationship for a long time. Although I think that actually helped us because we had to build it on communication. And yeah, we had to build it on communication. I'll leave it at that. A lot of relationships, especially nowadays, I think are built on hedony, aka sex. Although it does entail more than just sex. I think a lot of young people, when they find, well, it even sounds weird to say they find someone else, because I'm thinking in the context of love. Yeah, when they encounter somebody else with whom they can have fun with, they are having fun with them. They're not like, hey, if you don't have intentions of getting married, well, I'm going to have to try to find somebody else because, I don't want to waste my time with you. Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, I wouldn't want to waste my time either because I've only got... Now I'm starting to just make stuff up to be funny at the end of that. Like, I was going to start saying, I've only got so much time before I can't have any more kids, but no girls ever say that. My wife didn't say that. But even in the first months of knowing each other, I think, definitely within the first 6 months, but I think even in like the first few months, I don't remember who said it to who first, but we both said how we're looking for a serious relationship. And I remember her telling me that she doesn't want to waste her time if we're not serious and it's not gonna... I don't know if she actually said if it's not gonna end in marriage, but we both had told each other various different things about how we do not want to waste our time if it's not serious. Because, that's pretty stupid to just waste your time. Not to repeat myself, but that's what it is, a waste of time. Because you could be spending that time finding the person who you're actually going to have a real relationship with and stay with. That's a very valuable thing. So we had that commonality from the start. And something else that I did, she didn't do this so much. Maybe she did and I didn't realize it. Maybe she didn't realize it. But something I did that I realized I was doing, that I did on purpose, was I was completely honest with her. Because I figured if she, and I actually figure this with all people unless it's very harmful if I do it, but I figured if she doesn't like how I actually am, what I've actually done, just me, we're not meant to be together. I need a girl who actually loves me. and wants to be with me. Not this fantasy of me, not this idea of me, uh, but me. And none of us are perfect. So, I would just, piece after piece, just open up to her. Because you don't want to open up and say everything possible that someone could possibly not like all at once. That might be a little bit too much. But, I slowly but surely told her everything possible that I thought maybe she wouldn't like about me. And each time I did it, I knew what I was doing. And I thought, she might break up with me after I tell her this, but, if she does, we were never meant to be together. And no matter what I told her, either she was okay with it, or she wasn't okay with it, but we dealt with it and got through it. I just heard some stuff outside. Yeah, it's not like I murdered anybody, so it's not like I did anything super crazy bad, but still, none of us are perfect. And sometimes certain ways that people are, certain things that people have done, we don't like them and would rather be with somebody else. So that was something very important, because I think you cannot have a relationship with somebody, a real, true, meaningful relationship, if you're not completely open and honest with them. Because then you don't even know each other. You don't actually love each other. You love your idea of them. You don't love them. So that's a very important thing. We were always very open and honest with each other. I don't know how other people are, and this is much less significant, but even if she'd say, like, am I looking like I gained weight? I'd be like, well, yeah, you are. She'd be like, oh, you shouldn't tell me. I said, I have to tell you. I gotta be honest with you. And she would often tell me, like, oh, you're too honest. You should be less honest. And I would, this is gonna sound maybe a little messed up, but it's reality. I would tell her when I notice other girls that look good. I'd ask her what she thinks of them, and oftentimes she was actually sending me pictures of girls, because, guys, we compare ourselves to other guys, girls compare themselves to other girls. So just like I look at photos of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mike O'Hearn, other bodybuilders, she's looking at photos of girls that are, very thin and models and stuff. So I felt a little more okay sending her photos of other girls and being like, oh, what do you think of this one? I think she looks really good. But yeah, it's not something you really should do. But, in the quest of honesty, it's something maybe you should consider. But we've reached a point where it doesn't bother her, because she knows I don't actually have a true interest in them. She knows, of course, that, I know they're attractive, but I have no desire for any girl besides her. And I'm pretty sure she has no desire for any guy besides me. That's why I'm not afraid if she goes to a nightclub or something, or she goes out with a group of friends and there's guys. I have zero fears whatsoever. And she has no fears that I'm going to be with another girl, because I'm not going to be. That's a very important thing, is to really know each other and be able to trust each other, because it's pretty hard to trust each other if you don't know each other. But if you know each other and you realize that you truly only love each other, it's pretty easy to trust each other that you're not going to do something. But I'll move on to another thing. You do also need, I don't know why I'm holding up one finger, it's like one thing, but I'm trying to signify it in some way. I don't know, you need loyalty. And it doesn't matter how you're feeling at the moment. It's just like how you have to go to the gym no matter how you feel. Just like you have to learn self-defense no matter how you feel. You have to be loyal. Because what do you have if you're not loyal? You don't have a relationship. If you're not loyal, she's not loyal, there's no relationship. You don't have anything. And it looks like it's getting brighter and darker and doing all sorts of weird things on camera, but now it seems to have stopped. Nope. But you must be loyal to each other. Um, what you consider, now you have to decide, the two of you, what you consider to be loyal or unloyal. Because what I consider to be loyal, maybe you don't. What your wife considers to be loyal, maybe mine doesn't. But you have to figure out what you guys consider to be loyal. There's two of you, that's why I'm holding up two fingers. And you have to make a singular decision, that's why I bring them together. And you have to abide by it. I know it's a little bit ridiculous when I start explaining my hand motions, but I'm watching myself on camera and I notice I do lots of hand motions. And I thought, maybe because you're not me and you don't know what's going on. I'm not always thinking about what I'm doing with my hands. It's mostly subconscious. Maybe because I'm Italian. But yeah, you have to do that. So what's something else? Yeah, so let's recap. You have to both, to stay consistent with my hand symbols, you have to both be in agreement and going through with to start from the beginning, you have to both be in agreement about having a serious relationship and wanting to do that. Not just waste your time. It doesn't work out so well if you want a serious relationship and she doesn't. Maybe she'll change, but it's best to find a girl that's proper-minded from the beginning. And you have to be honest with each other. You have to actually know each other, so you're not just in love with the idea of them. And you got to be loyal to each other. Because if you don't have loyalty, you don't have anything. What's the purpose of being with someone if they're not loyal to you? There's lots of people in the world. There's billions of people in the world. There's billions of people in the world that aren't loyal to you, that you aren't loyal to. Sure, it's nice to have one person who is loyal to you and you're loyal to them. At least one person. It's a pretty nice thing. And you know what's the easiest way? Now, of course, you can never control another person. But you know how you can be sure that you're always loyal to each other? You decide you're always going to be loyal to her, and she decides she's always going to be loyal to you. And as long as neither of you break that, you're always loyal to each other. How awesome and simple is that? It's not too hard. Maybe I'll end it here, but let me think for a moment if there's something else I should say. And I'm thinking, what should I title this video? Like, forming a good relationship? Oh yeah, I was actually going to talk about something completely different, but I never ended up talking about it. I'll briefly mention it here. Don't get mad at me. My wife's not mad at me. She knows that I consider her my property. As I told her, I consider me your property. Now, I don't really think about that, but like I said, I am completely loyal to her. So, in a sense, I guess that makes me her property. She is my property. And, yeah, I don't need to tell her, obey me, or else. I don't need to threaten her with slapping her, like backhand slapping her. That's the only way I think it's good to hit a woman. You shouldn't have to. You have to find a girl that you don't have to hit. But yeah, I don't need to threaten her or anything. She does it on her own accord. She listens to me. And she knows that I consider her mine. And that should be awesome. She should be super happy that I consider her mine. Just like I'm super happy that I am hers. These alpha male influencer guys, they would only tell you like one side of it. Like, yeah, she's yours and she gotta listen to you, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, you're also hers. Like, it doesn't exist just a one-directional thing. Because if you are not hers, then do you love her? Like, why are you with her if you're not hers also? Yeah, you are each other's. You belong to each other. That's kind of the idea of marriage. You are linked together. She is your wife, and you are her husband. And you cannot separate. Sadly, nowadays, people separate. I don't believe in divorce. I'm not sure that my wife agrees with me on that. She mostly agrees, but I guess we both think that there are circumstances in which divorce is okay. But like I said about loyalty, sure it's nice to have one person you're loyal to. Yeah, I don't believe in divorce. You should figure out the problem and work through it. Because if you're just going to split, you're going to find someone else and then split when there's a problem with them, there's always going to be problems in life. You have to face them rather than run away from them. And yeah, you got to stay together no matter what. Now, of course, you don't decide to do that with a girl you don't want to do that with. That's why you get to know her. Yeah, she's my property. I know that doesn't go over too well in the U.S. I used to joke with her, when we thought she'd go to university in the U.S. I told her when they're talking about stuff in class, like when you answer something, say, "My husband says that, and I agree with everything my husband says." Because I knew that would really tick off the professors. And they'd be like, you're from Eastern Europe, you don't understand, you don't have to agree with everything your husband says. And she can just keep on with it. What do you mean? Of course my husband's always right. He has to be. He's my husband. He's always right. I know I'm saying it as a joke, but it's true. You should always be behind your husband. You don't necessarily need to agree with him, but you always need to obey and stand by him and behind him. Interesting, because in Russian, when you say to get married, you're saying you're going behind the man. Kind of like I was just saying, you always need to stand by him, behind him, and be behind him. So you do need to do that. It's just funny to mess with the liberal wokesters and make it into a little comedy. If you got any other questions, write them in the comments. Yeah, if you find a girl that isn't okay with her being yours, maybe she's not the right one to be with, because the right girl wants to be yours. And you want to be hers. And you guys want to be loyal to each other forever.